Hi everyone, it's BDevine and welcome to Divine Miracles. And this one is a frequently asked question about, I guess you could say, spirituality and spirit guides as well. This one is about Jesus and Jesus Christ, and whatever you want to call him, and what my experience is with him, and what was the other thing? What role he has and what messages he may have for all of us, messages for humanity. And I guess I can just explain to you a little bit about my experience with Jesus Christ, and this may take longer than I expect, and I don't mean it to. I guess I should start at the beginning. I was raised a Christian, and my parents were together. I was a Christian, and my mum always sang in the church, and my father was very, very Christian. We always had the Bible out. My grandfather was the same. They always had the Bible out. We always said grace. There was no swearing and all that kind of thing. When I was 5 years old, my parents got divorced, and my father went to the United States with my brother, my oldest brother, and my youngest brother and myself went to Perth with my mum. Now, as soon as my mother left my father, she stopped going to church. There was no more church, but we were basically Baptist in the things that we did. However, there was horrible abuse in my household, with my mother and my stepfather and all of that kind of thing, and it didn't feel to me like a very good experience being a Baptist. So when I was 12 years old, nearly 13, I went over to the United States to live with my real dad. And before that, I hadn't seen him since I was 5, and then I saw him again when I'm like 12 years old. So there was a huge gap. He's over there with my oldest brother. My oldest brother went to Milton Hershey School, so that is in Pennsylvania. And if you know that school, you know that it is for kids that have one parent or no parents, and they get to live on the grounds. It's like a boarding school. They live on the grounds. It's a huge Christian establishment, and it's a beautiful place actually. It's just amazing. And he lived in a house with 10 other kids, and they have house parents, all that kind of thing. So when I went over to the United States, my dad wanted me to also go to this school, and I felt that that was going to trap me in my life. Like, I was just determined that I was not going to go to the school, because I could see my brother was stuck there for all those years. So anyway, I decided, no, I'm not going, and so my dad sent me to normal school, and I started to take a few days off and play hooky with my friends, and we didn't even go to school. We just forgot. We were really naughty. Okay, so my dad said, no, you're just not going to school anymore. You're going to be homeschooled. Okay, so we've got this journey of my life going on. All with this is this Christian thing of me being a sinner, born a sinner, and always doing something wrong, and Jesus is not going to be happy with me, etc., etc., etc. So I found myself very, very frustrated with Christianity, and I'm thinking, this is just not right, because the Christians are always picking on everybody. Now again, I am just giving you my point of view, okay? They were always picking on everybody. I would watch the behaviours of people, and we'd go to church with my dad and all that, and everyone was happy in the church, and they'd leave and they'd be arguing in the car park, or you'd see a father slap his child and come on, get in the car, and start getting angry. And it was just all seemed to me to be hypocrisy. It just didn't feel right. And plus the fact that I was really mad because I was always taught that Jesus was my saviour, and Jesus is the light and all of this kind of thing. Yet all I was ever told was how bad I was, and naughty, and I should be doing all these other things, and Jesus wouldn't be happy with me. It was terrible. Anyway, and my dad, he really did try to do the right thing, and he was doing the best that he knew how with this teenage daughter that he'd never seen for all these years. So he decided that he would get me married off. By the time I was 15, he was looking for a husband for me, and he was looking for a husband that was obviously religious, and he knew that I could get married when I was 16 with parents' permission. So he looked everywhere for a husband for me, and it was horrible. I felt like I was just on parade as some wife to be, and I actually lived in with Amish people, which is in Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. I live with Hutterite people, and I live with Mennonite people. And I went from those 3 different types of groups. And obviously my dad was trying to get me married off to one of the young boys that was in there. So this was my experience with all this religion and all this carry on with Jesus and all of this stuff going on, and working for my place to sleep, and, you know, stricken from no friends, you know, absolutely no friends whatsoever, you know, having to go into this strict way. And with the Amish people, you know, there's no electricity, there's horse and cart, you know, and working your guts out as a young person, and I wasn't used to it. And then he would take me away from there and, you know, put me with the Mennonite people. Now, the Mennonite people had cars. That was a step up, I thought. They had cars and things, and they seemed a little bit less old-fashioned. But even so, you know, you had to have your head covering, and, you know, your clothes were completely plain, no makeup, nothing. You know, no makeup to a teenage girl is, like, really not fair. It's not good. And then Hutterites... the Hutterites were more closely knit, like very, very closely together. So, you know, a lot of them lived in the same housings and things like that. But it was all in the same area. It was like really, really compact being with the Hutterites. And we all ate in a big hall and things like that. Where the Mennonites had their own houses, and, you know, you stayed in that house, and, you know, you ate together at the table. Again, there was no smiling, you know, very little fun. It was all about hard work, and it was all about how bad you are, and, you know, that you can improve. But in that environment is when I woke up spiritually, like in a big way. And I was told to hang on to my truth, you know, and speak my truth, and that I was very, very loved, which was something that I had not heard of before in this kind of environment. So Jesus became somebody that I spoke to in a different way. I didn't pray to him anymore. I just talked to him as my friend. And, you know, it took a long time because I was still a little bit frightened of all this stuff. I eventually got away and moved back to Australia, and I was homeless for a long time when I was in Australia. And then I met the father of my 2 oldest boys. And so my life went in this completely opposite direction. I stopped talking about spirituality. I wanted nothing to do with being a Baptist whatsoever. I still had this terrible guilt on my shoulders that I was doing something wrong all the time. Like I felt this terrible guilt, especially, you know, having a partner and not being married. That was just, I was going to be in the worst trouble. And because I was not married and I had children, that was going to be even more trouble. So that meant that I had to stay with this abusive partner. Again, you know, the guilt of the church and the guilt of the religion always on my mind for a very, very long time, and for a very, very long time actually. And I was still, I was given cards and things when I was over in the United States in New York City. Someone gave me a set of cards, and I was very, very interested in that. I was only 15 at that time, and that was just before I came back to Australia. And I started to study and learn, and I did not get them anywhere near my dad because I knew he would take them away from me. And this went on and on and on. You know, this back and forth, in secret, doing the things. To cut a long story short, I eventually had a very, very interesting vision of the Lord Jesus himself, and he stood at the end of my bed, and I knew this was him without a shadow of doubt. I connected to him immediately as my master guide, and I thought he looked at me with pride and love and acceptance and joy, and you know, just he was just thrilled to be there, and it was all in his eyes. And it made me realize that the Jesus that I've been taught about, the one that was in the churches, is not the Jesus that really is. So the Jesus that really is, and the one that lived on earth, and I have walked with Jesus in past lives, and this all came to me over time, and I have been there, and he was nothing like they make it out to be. He did talk to people, and he was healing with people, and he was doing all of those kinds of things. But he was not about himself. He was not egotistical in any way. He was all just about helping other people. The other thing that he was he did not see, like he didn't go up to the lepers and say, okay, you're lepers, I don't want to talk to you. He didn't go up to black people and say, you're black, I don't want to talk to you. He didn't judge anybody. This was something that was instilled in me, that Jesus was a judgment person, that Jesus looks down and goes, you know, you're a sinner. He did not judge anybody, and he does not judge you whatsoever. So this was very, very hard for me to work out. You know, it was very relieving to me though as well. And you know, his message to humanity, his global message to humanity is self-love, unconditional love. Love thy neighbor, love everybody as you would love yourself. Give to others. You know, give of yourself to others without asking for anything in return. Just do it. Believe that you are a healer, you know, and that you are able to go up to somebody and say, do you know why this has happened in your life? Do you know why these things have happened to you in your life? If the person can say, yes, I know why, you know, this has happened to me, then they will be healed. And Jesus was a conduit of energy. So he stood there and he helped them, you know, because his intention was, oh, they are going to be healed. And their intention was, I believe I am going to be healed. And it happened. You know, and I have had countless experiences with him now in my life where, you know, and I'm not saying that I'm the only one that does. Of course not. You know, he's there for anybody and everybody. He does not discriminate. People discriminate. He does not judge. God judges. People judges. God doesn't judge. Jesus doesn't judge. People do that. You know, and people put things on pedestals, and people put angels in hierarchies, and people do this. They don't. Okay, so he asks that you open up your heart to love and feel his love right now. Know that he will, the energy of Jesus will work with anybody. It doesn't matter who or where you are. He loves each of us equally. He doesn't hold anyone higher than anybody else. He never did. The one thing though, that when I saw Jesus in my past life and I realized, oh my God, there he is, right? And the reason that you'll know that it is Jesus is because he glows. Now, I believe that others thought he was an angel when he was on earth, you know, 2,000 years ago, whatever. They thought he was an angel because he glowed like angels do. I mean, he glowed even during the daytime. There was this, his aura was always shining, and it was enough to make you just like lose your breath. You know, you see him and you lose your breath and you're, wow. You know, just really, it's like nothing on earth. You know, we don't see that now even. Imagine seeing it then. That's why people got jealous and upset and all of this and wanted to get rid of him. Because, you know, how can this person be doing something that is not, that is all loving? How can they be like that? There has to be something about them. And chipping away and chipping away and chipping away. And putting fear into people, you know, so that he was eventually betrayed. And, you know, putting all this fear and stemming all this doubt and all of this stuff. Aren't these the things that we hear now when we go to church? We hear about that, you know, we should have a big God-fearing Christians. That is ridiculous. You know, I just don't like it. And, you know, I respect people with their, okay, if that is what you believe, that is fantastic. You know, good on you. You are blessed because you are following a path that is right for you. But please have an open mind about things. My father is now gone from being a Christian for 76 years or something, and in the last 2 years he's now a Catholic. Now, all those years I was told how bad the Catholics were, what, now that's just all forgiven and forgotten, and off he goes over to the Catholic side. You know, I'm like, what the heck? What is that? You know, I've come from a family where my grandfathers in Wales were all ministers in the Baptist Church, in Salem Baptist Church in Wales. And, you know, going back through the years and through history. And my grandmother on my dad's side, you know, her husband was a Methodist minister. and he was from Germany, and it went on and on and on and on and on. And then there's my dad, and he goes from one religion to the other and one church to the other, and then the Hutterites and the Mennonites and the Amish, trying to marry off his daughter, and you know, because she's such a sinner. And what is that? I was not a sinner or anything like that. I was just an ordinary kid with a big heart and wanted to have fun with people and make people laugh and of course joke around and all of that stuff. And you know, it wasn't even bad. So my experience with Jesus has not always been a good experience, because the way that I've been taught to believe about him has been very, very negative. But over the last 10 years or so, actually a bit longer than that now, I have developed this wonderful, wonderful relationship with Jesus where I feel that he absolutely adores humanity. He absolutely cares about each and every one of us. And he wants everybody to feel the love within themselves and, you know, open their heart to the true essence of who they truly are. He doesn't want people to judge each other. He wants people, the religions and all of that stuff, to either completely finish or open themselves more to people. Be more open to people and, you know, give of your wealth to people. I mean, okay, I'm not going to go there about what they hoard, but we know, okay, there's plenty that could go around for the whole world to not be in any type of discomfort whatsoever. Okay, he wants people to just open their hearts and their minds, and that goes for the religious leaders as well. Open your hearts and your mind. Don't be so narrow. You know, remember that his teachings were always about love and acceptance, and that he did not discriminate between one person or another. There would be people that would never go near a leper, and there's Jesus walking right into it, not afraid whatsoever of them. And I mean, the lepers would have looked hideous, right? You know, he would have gone to any type of person. Look at Mary Magdalene, was considered to be a whore, and apparently there were 7 demons within her, and he still was like, come on, you know, you can come with us, it's fine. He didn't care. He was so accepting of anybody. He just wanted them to be accepting of themselves, and he wants you to do the same thing. You know, he brings peace, he brings love. He doesn't bring judgment with him. He doesn't bring anything like that. That is all man-made stuff. And, you know, religions are pretty much man-made as well. And, you know, they're all made up so that we feel that we have to fit in somewhere, or we feel that we have to do as we're told in some way, shape or form. Now, part of me is saying, oh dear, don't upload this video, because you are going to get a whole lot of, you know, people firing at you. And I get it. Okay, I understand. I know what that's like. I was afraid to stray away from that as well. I know. But you asked me what my feelings were and what my experiences were with Jesus. These are what they are, and it's continually growing. And the Jesus that I know is absolutely wonderfully loving, kind, and I've even explained how he looks to my father, and he said to me that he believes me. And you know, it's been very difficult with my dad, because he's always got his Bible out in his hands and he's always looking through scriptures, and we debate with each other. And you know, I tell him, he tells me that he wants me to read this particular part of the Bible, and I tell him, well, if you read a little bit further, then it further explains what I'm trying to say. And we, you know, it's stupid. I don't want to argue over religion. I do know quite a bit about it, and I don't want to limit myself in that way, or just feel that feeling again of being suffocated. I also know many, many, many Christians. I know there's one lady who's going to think I'm talking about her, but it's not. I know many, many, many Christians who in secretly are listening to the messages that I have, and come to me for advice as well. And they feel like they cannot escape the situation that they're in, and that is very, very sad. So I'm going to go now, because this video is coming to an end, because the battery is about to run out. And I hope that is very, very helpful. And please know that peace and love is yours if you look to Christ and, you know, the real energy of Christ. And don't feel that you are condemned, because you are not. You are loved and accepted just how you are. Thank you for listening. Until the next video, it's goodbye from me.